Hello, guys. Good afternoon, and welcome back once again to this amazing session in types of friction. Now, we're going to learn about all these different types, which generally does not appear for everybody. These are some types of friction that you can always remember, which inculcates each and everything. Now, once we start this session, we are going to take a look into a lot of examples as well. But before I do that, let me tell you, there's one more place where you can learn a lot more, and that happens to be the ODA Class app. Once you download this ODA Class app, you will see that your learning has taken off in the right direction and at a pace never seen before. Now, if you want to actually get into the real deal at ODA Class, let me tell you, there is a link in the description below that you can click on and get yourself registered into the bridge course. Now, what's the bridge course? It's a course that starts on Monday, and it will give you not only 1 week of learning, not only 6 live classes, not only a mentor teacher for your personal support, but also the homeworks, the tests, as well as the PDF books. Now, if you're thinking that this is almost everything that I want in this course, in any course that I would be taking, then let me tell you, if your parents are not convinced, there's a parent teacher meeting as well. So it's a win win for everybody, for the student as well as the parent. We have a lot of reports that we keep on showing how many quizzes you attempt, how much time you learned, and what are the topics that actually need attention. So all that analysis is done, but only if you will be coming into the bridge course. Like I said, this link is there in the description below. Go out there, click on that link, and make sure that you enroll into one of the best courses in India right now. Remember that this is actually a 499, that is 499, almost a 500 rupees course, but you are getting this discounted price at 49 rupees just because you chose to come over here. Now, since you have chose to come over here, let me quickly introduce myself as well. My name is Udit Gupta, and I will be your physics educator for today. So, I've done my mechanical engineering from NIT Allahabad. As I told you, I would be teaching you physics, and since there's a lot of experience involved, since there's a lot of students who have come and learned with me, that means you can also learn something great over here from this session. Let's get this started. Now, what are the different topics to be covered? What are the different things that we want to do in this session? Four types of friction, right? Now, if you'll see, the names are given quite easily over here. And you must remember something that the first friction is called as the static friction. The second one, it has a lot of names. It comes in different names, as you can see, that it could be called dynamic friction, it could be called sliding friction, or it could be called kinetic friction as well. So all these three names are same. The most common name that you might find if you are studying from, let's say class 7th, 8th, or ninth, you will be finding this name. If let us say you move on, you go on to class 11th, you're gonna find this name or this name. So this is the common name that is generally used, but this one and this one might also be used. So you can remember dynamic, sliding, or kinetic means the same thing. The third type of friction is rolling friction, and finally we have the fluid friction. So these three frictions actually combined together are also called as dry friction. So dry mein there is a static, dry mein there is this dynamic or sliding or kinetic, and similarly rolling also lies under dry friction. This is what we call as the wet friction. All right, so if you are feeling a little uncomfortable, ki, "Arey, these names are so difficult to remember," then let me tell you, there's a trick for you. To remember all of these, you can just remember stop it silly rainforest, right? If you remember stop it silly rainforest, you can say the S and T stands for the static friction, the first friction that we had. Silly, S comes for sliding friction. Now you must remember one thing over here, and this is that this sliding friction can also be called as dynamic friction, or this can also be called as kinetic friction. So these two names also you must remember, but at the same time, I will say that rain, R is for rolling, and similarly forest, F is for fluid. So this way you can remember all the four names quite easily. All right. Now we've understood that these are the four names: static, dynamic, rolling, and fluid, or static, sliding, rolling, and fluid. But what and where exactly would we find them? So let me take you a little further. If I talk about all these four frictions with respect to just a word or a phrase, that how will I define it using just a phrase? So these two frictions are quite closely related, static and dynamic. Dynamic means that you're dynamic, you're very active, you're moving, you're in motion, right? Static means something was stoic, something that is not moving, something that is at rest. So if I call one motion as the one in motion, I can also call this one directly to be at rest. So static generally comes with rest, dynamic comes with motion. These two generally act hand in hand, that if one is there, another is not there; if another is there, the first one is not there. All right, talking about these two, rolling friction, quite easy to see that there will be rollers involved. We'll talk more about this in the upcoming slides. And fluid, the term fluid, we just want to take F and L out of fluid, and that comes in flow. So anything that can flow becomes fluid. Anything. We'll again talk a little more about this. In fact, let me take you there and let me talk about the first two types of friction. Now, if I take if I take static friction, it is saying pushing a sofa. Now, what happens if you push a sofa? If I push a sofa, I'm pushing, 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 it is not moving, right? So, if pushing a sofa, and also we say that the sofa is not moving, then we will say that this is static, because not moving will mean that it is at rest. Not moving will mean that this is the case of no motion. So this will ultimately lead us to static friction. What about the next one? If I light a matchstick, what is going to happen in this case? Now, if I light a matchstick, if you have ever tried it, right? So there is motion. Where is this motion? This motion is between the matchbox. This is between the matchbox and the stick, the fire stick that you have. So that is why I will call this under dynamic friction, or maybe I'm going to call it sliding friction, or maybe I'm going to call it kinetic friction. All right. So this was these two. What about the next two? Let's take you over there. So if I take you towards rolling friction, I said anything that can roll. Now, what are the common things that roll? Either a sphere can roll or cylinder can roll. Now, if I take a sphere, this generally comes in the form of a ball, and cylinder, if I take, the most common example is wheels. So these two, or maybe you can say sphere and cylinder in a broader categorization, or maybe you can say ball and wheels to make sure a smaller kid can also understand. So that is up to you how you want to explain this. Let's take you towards the next one, that is fluid friction. So like I said, anything that can flow. Now, liquids can also flow while gases can also flow. If you are thinking how can gases flow, I hope you have seen your that red colored cylinder at your home, and it is connected to the stove through a pipe. And what flows in the pipe? Gas flows in the pipe, right? That's isopropane or isobutane. But that's not our concern. We're just saying that a gas flows in that pipe. So gas can also flow. You already know that rivers flow, water flows, right? So liquid also flows. So if you want to take some example of liquid, water, oil, these days disinfectants, right? Sanitizers, you can say. Gas, if you talk about air, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, what all? You know all the gases. So all these will lie under fluid friction. So now I have some examples for you in which you can try to guess what exactly is happening and try to understand the different types of friction. Now the first question that I take, it just says that there is a car that is parked on a slope. There is a car that is parked on a slope, and it's asking is the car moving or not. So if this car is parked, what will we say? We can simply say that this car will be at rest, because if it is parked, then nothing moves. In the parking lot, nothing moves. Everything is just meant to stay there. And you know what? This guy having this, quite an awesome car if he would be outside and his car will move, then accident will take place and he will not like it. So he would probably be behind the wheel if it is not parked. So I think for this quiz we can say that no, the car is not moving. Right? The car is at rest because the car was parked. All right, let's take you towards the next one. Now, the same thing is given. It says car is parked on a slope, and you understand that parked means that it is at rest. You are asked which friction acts over here, and I think you can quite easily say that the friction related with rest happens to be this A part. Let's just move over there and make sure that we say that yes, we have understood that this car, the one that is at rest, this will make sure that static friction is acting on the car. Now, another case, and this time another word. The car is sliding on a slope. Now, if it is sliding, if it is moving like this, then which friction will act? And I think you know it that there were three frictions. There was one called a kinetic friction, there was one called a sliding friction, which were same, and it was dynamic, which was same as well. So all three are same. That means we can say that dynamic friction over here is correct. Right. Let's take ahead this car again and try to see what is the next question. As simple as it gets. Car is rolling on a slope. And if it is rolling, I think that you can quite easily say that this will be the case where dynamic तो नहीं rolling friction, right? Because rolling खत्म इसमें तो कुछ सोचना ही नहीं था ना. This was a no-brainer question. You could have easily answered that if the car is rolling on a slope, then rolling friction comes, right? C part. Okay, next quiz. Car is again moving on a slope. It's neither sliding, it's not rolling, and it says which friction does air apply? So this time around, we have to focus upon this word air. Now, what can I say? Air is something that can flow. Air is a mixture of gases. Air is a mixture of gases, and that means that it must classify under fluid friction. फ्लूइड फ्रिक्शन के अंडर ये आपकी फोर्थ केस बन जाएगी. Right. So we took an example where static friction might have been there, where another case we had dynamic friction or sliding friction or kinetic friction. Another case we took where there was rolling friction. And finally, we took this case where fluid friction is acting. So the thing is that these are the four final types of friction. These are the only four types of friction that you can remember. And whenever it is asked to you that which friction acts, you can simply remember the one related to rest, the one related to stationary objects, the one related to no motion, the one related to motion, the one related to movement, the one related to sliding or skidding or rubbing. This will be under dynamic friction. The third one, rolling friction, the one that comes when things start rolling. It generally comes in the form of wheels or spheres. Over here, you can see that these wheels are there. So if we would be talking about the wheels, we would be talking about rolling friction. And finally, if you have a liquid or a gas, you say that this is the case where कहाँ गया? This fluid friction, D part acts. So I hope that everything was pretty much clear to you. And if you want to learn more, this is the place to go. This is the place to be at if you are amongst those curious learners. If you want to learn things in a brand new, unique way, one never explained before, because this is very different from your orthodox learning. It's not about learning from books, it's about learning from the best. And the best educators will be found if you will come into the bridge course. What's the bridge course? You see that link in the description below. That is where you can reach the bridge course from. And it's going to start on Monday. There's 1 week of learning, 6 classes, personal teacher, homework, and tests, and the books, everything provided to you. Just given the fact you come into this course, Go out there, check out that link. This is the link I'm talking about. If you check it in the description box below, you're gonna find that it's a 49 rupees course which can help you a lot more. So if you are looking out to learn, do not forget to come into this course. Let me tell you one more amazing thing about ODA class, that we have a system where we reward our kids. Right. So you are thinking that if you take 49 rupees, can we get worth 49 rupees of coins? Yes, the ODA coins are being distributed and they are worth a lot more because you can get your hands on this water bottle, on this Mi Band, sound bar, even the phone. And guess what? If you enroll right away, abhi ke abhi, so this will mean that you are in for a Sunday special surprise. This Sunday, there's going to be a special surprise for everybody who enrolls in the bridge course, right? That is the catch of the Sunday goodies that we are distributing. But again, that depends whether you come into this course or not. If you come, all these coins could be yours, and forget about the coins. Direct goodies will be sent to your home if you come into the bridge course. That was all that I had to tell. I hope you really enjoyed the class. In case you did, and you want your friends to know that, you know what, there's this amazing place where I learned a lot of new things, you can like the button over there and you can share it with your friends. Also, if you don't want to miss out anything, press the bell button, subscribe. Until later, this is me saying bye bye and thank you.